Here's a number worth pausing on. 35 million euros, or 7% of a company's total worldwide revenue. And that is the maximum fine under the European Union's new AI law. And it does not only apply to European companies. This is the EU AI Act, what it actually is, who it touches, and why it might already apply to you. In 2024, the European Union adopted the AI Act, officially Regulation 2024-1689. Behind that dry name is something wild. It is the world's first full horizontal law that tries to regulate AI across the board, not just in one sector like health or cars, but everywhere. So what is the point? The EU is trying to do three things at once: protect people and their fundamental rights from harmful AI, create one predictable rule book so companies don't face 27 different national laws, and support innovation and trust so businesses can scale AI safely. Notice what is not on that list: ban AI. That was never the goal. Instead, the Act regulates by risk. Some uses of AI are so dangerous, they are simply forbidden. Some are high risk, allowed, but with heavy obligations. Some are limited risk, where you mainly have to be transparent. And most AI is minimal risk with no special duties at all. A spam filter is not treated like an AI that decides who gets a mortgage. That is the core idea. Two important details. First, this is a regulation, not a directive. In EU terms, that means it applies directly in every member state. Countries cannot water it down or delay it. It just lands. Second, it does not replace other laws. It sits alongside the GDPR, which governs personal data and product safety rules for things like medical devices. If they apply, you comply with all of them. And this is not theory. It is already happening on a phased timeline. The Act entered into force in August 2024. The bans on prohibited AI applied from February 2025, rules for general purpose AI models from August 2025, and the big obligations for high risk systems phase in through 2026 and 2027. Some rules are already live. The rest are coming on a fixed schedule. Underneath all the pages, the structure is surprisingly logical. Think of it as 4 layers. Layer 1, general rules and definitions, what counts as AI and who the key players are. Layer 2, risk categories and prohibited practices. Layer 3, the actual obligations plus the governance machinery like the EU AI Office. And Layer 4, enforcement and sanctions, the fines alongside support like regulatory sandboxes for smaller companies. Now, scope. This is where people realize, oh, this applies to us. There are 2 angles, where and what. On the where side, and the Act covers EU organizations that build, sell, or use AI, but it also covers non-EU organizations that place AI on the EU market or whose AI outputs are used in the EU. So picture a US company offering an AI tool to clients in France or Germany, 0 offices in Europe. Are they in scope? Almost certainly, yes. Like the GDPR before it, this law reaches across borders. It follows the market, not the head office. On the what side, the definition of an AI system is deliberately broad in plain terms. A machine-based system with some autonomy that generates outputs like predictions, recommendations, or decisions that influence the world. It is about function and impact, not whether you used fancy deep learning or plain statistics. And there is a special category for general purpose AI models, like large language models, whose providers get their own obligations. So which risk bucket are you in? At the very top, prohibited practices, unacceptable risk. These clash with EU values so strongly they are simply banned. manipulative or subliminal techniques that seriously distort behavior and cause harm, certain social scoring by public authorities, and real-time biometric identification in public spaces with only very narrow, tightly controlled exceptions. If your idea lives here, the advice is simple: don't. One step down, high-risk systems allowed but heavily regulated. You are usually here if your AI is a safety component of a regulated product like a medical device, or if it is used in a sensitive area, hiring and worker management, credit and banking, education, law enforcement, migration and borders, the justice system. This is where most of the compliance work lives. Below that, limited risk AI, not banned, not high risk, but with transparency duties. A chatbot people might mistake for a human, or a tool that generates deep fakes. Users have to know it is AI. And finally, minimal risk AI, spam filters, recommendation engines, AI in games, the vast majority of systems with no special obligations at all. Here's the part that matters for your org chart. The Act does not regulate AI companies as a vague category. It regulates specific roles called operators, and one company can wear several hats. A provider builds an AI system and puts it on the market under its own brand. A deployer uses one under its own authority. An importer brings a non-EU system into the EU. A distributor passes it along the supply chain. And a product manufacturer builds a physical product with AI inside. Each role has a different to-do list. Providers of high-risk systems carry the heaviest load. Risk management, good data governance to reduce bias, technical documentation, human oversight by design, and a conformity assessment before the system goes to market. Deployers must use the system as intended, keep humans in the loop, run impact assessments in sensitive contexts, and monitor real-world performance. Importers and distributors check that the paperwork, the markings, and the instructions are all in order. Oh, let's make it concrete. A US company, Talent Match, builds an AI recruitment tool that screens CVs and sells it to employers in the EU. Talent Match is the provider of a high-risk system because it is used in hiring, and targeting EU customers puts it in scope. An EU marketplace listing it is a distributor, and a German retailer using it to screen applicants is a deployer. Same technology, 3 different roles, 3 different to-do lists. Obligations also stack along the value chain. A lab called Deep Text builds a large language model and offers it in the EU. It is a provider of a general purpose AI model. A French startup fine-tunes that model into a legal assistant and sells it. Now they are a provider of an AI system built on top, and a law firm using that assistant is a deployer. One chain, 3 sets of duties. Your turn. Classify each one. CloudVision sells an image recognition API to EU retailers for product recognition. SmartHire buys a recruitment tool and uses it to screen candidates. And RoboHome sells vacuum robots with simple fixed rule navigation. Provider, deployer, or maybe not even an AI system at all. Quick check. A Canadian company builds an AI tool that predicts loan default risk and sells it to banks across the EU, who use the scores to decide who gets a loan. Who is who? The Canadian company is a provider in scope because it is placing an AI system on the EU market. The banks are deployers of what is very likely a high-risk system because credit scoring is explicitly on the high-risk list. No EU office required for the law to bite. So here is the single most important takeaway. The EU AI Act is not abstract or distant. It is a concrete risk-based rulebook that follows the technology wherever it goes, looks at what it is used for, and assigns responsibilities to the roles companies actually play. If you touch AI and you touch Europe, the question is no longer, does this apply to us? It is, where do we sit in this picture and are we ready? That was module 1 of our EU AI Act course, and it is free. The full course keeps going, 11 modules, audio lectures, flashcards, and practice questions, all free on Skarp. Search Skarp on the App Store or head to skarp.app and get compliance ready today.